Okay, welcome to the Space Limited Accomplishments interval. I'm Lance Ash, and this is Bonnie Ash.
Hello.
And I woke up just now to find that a tree had fallen down across our driveway. We have had a lot of heavy rain the last day, and a tree on my mother's property broke off and fell down across the driveway. And Bonnie arranged to get it cleared away while I was asleep. I didn't hear any of it, any of the chainsaws or anything. How did you first notice that it was down?
I was literally going to go pick up Peter, and I looked over and saw something was off about the area where I normally park. I had not parked over there today because it had been raining so heavily. I parked next to the front door, and when I looked over to see where I normally park, trees, all the limbs were on the ground. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And as I looked around some more, I realized there's an entire enormous tree, like 80 feet long, running across our driveway and about 15-20 feet from the edge of our house. It's huge.
So were you late picking up Peter?
2 minutes. As soon as I could figure out that I was able to scoot around it on the very tip top of the tree, go through the yard and get out the driveway, I didn't have to call anyone to try to pick him up. And then the only thing that really delayed me was an accident on the road into downtown.
Okay, well, very good. Okay, before we proceed to the theme of today's show, which we do actually have a theme today, let's go over our weekend. What was your weekend like?
I can't remember my weekend.
Well, I got 2 paintings finished. One of them pretty shitty, mediocre. The other was pretty good. Turned out okay.
Our daughter came over yesterday and just popped in to say Happy Father's Day on her day off. And Lance went back to bed, and then the kids and I played Scrabble. And she hung out a while. That I remember. And Peter and I watched a bad movie on Friday. And made homemade pizza with him.
Okay, very good. Okay, we're going to initially talk about the state of movies today, the state of going to the movies, to the...
Shrek?
Well, you know, in Britain they say, or the UK they say cinema, or cinema. We say theater here. But I don't think I've been to the actual movie theater since that second Star Wars reboot thing came out.
Did we see that in the theater? Did I go with you?
I don't know if you went or not, but that wasn't like the last straw, but it just turned out that way. Now, I have a friend who is insistent that people love going to the movies, love going to the theater. It's a group experience and the big screen and all that shit. I don't think that theater attendance will ever recover. It'll ever be what it was.
I know what the breaking point for me was. Assigned seating. Definitely. I don't like assigned seating, even if I get to pick it, because until you get in there and you see if there is a tall person or a small person with lots of food and lots of mouth, or some woman with a bottle of perfume poured over her head, you don't know where you want to sit. You know generally the location, but you don't know if you want to sit next to those people.
Yeah. The only time I experienced that was when we went to the Beechwood Cinema, where they had those horrible seats.
Oh, they were terrible. The headrest made your head lean forward because it was so puffy. There was no recline function on it. It might have been okay if you had a recline function. Might have been. But I sat there with my head crooked down looking sideways at the damn thing just so I could be seated without having to sit on the edge of my seat. It was awful. Those seats were absolutely terrible.
They had some kind of, I don't know what we went to see.
It was the Hail Caesar thing that was a real stinker.
Okay, well anyway, that's the only time I've went to that theater since I changed the seats. It was very straight back. They had an ornamental button on the front or something, which I got so mad I tore off during the movie. And, but I just don't, to me, it's a combination of the prices are ridiculous, and second, the movies suck now.
Yeah, they really do.
There's just, and I don't have time or patience to go to the movies on a regular enough basis to sift through all the shit to find the little art house piece that's going to appeal to me, even if I could find such a thing. So I'm only going to be tempted to go by the big, the big attractions, the big blockbusters, and those suck now.
When the kids were coming up, all those Marvel comics were out, so of course I'd have to take the kids to the movies. And I kind of got into them, and then, it was something to talk to the kids about. But it just got to the point where it was so much dreck. Just nonsense, and rewriting and rethinking storylines, and I mean, how many fucking Spider-Man origin story movies are there, and how many actors have portrayed him? What is it, 4, 5, 6 now? It's something ridiculous. And I don't see how the kids that read can stand watching that thing over and over. Peter's out of the circle now, but Reed told me that Quentin has bought Disney Plus or whatever that is, and she watched WandaVision, and she watched a new Captain America or something or another, and I just don't see how she's sticking with it. I really don't. It's all so much crap now.
I don't see how somebody who owns something like Marvel would turn it over to Disney. I don't care how much money they tempt you with. Why would you turn over something you've put your life into and that you believe in just to get some money? Because Disney is going to water it down, tart it up, and smooth off all the
hell out of it.
Yeah. Just not going to happen. When I was a kid, we went to the movies quite a... Look at that weirdo RV back there. We went to the movies quite a bit. And a lot of those movies had an impact on me for a while. And the movies I didn't see had an impact on me because the other kids would be talking about them and I didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
Like what movies, Lance?
Well, Star Wars is the big one, the original. But there were others, Close Encounters, and never saw that at the theater. I'm trying to think what else.
I was fortunate. My dad would take us to go see movies. Sometimes things that my mom would kind of be taken aback about. Like, he took us to see a James Bond movie. And she's like, all that sex. Really? Honestly? As an adult now? All that sex? I'm sorry, there's not all that sex. If anything, it's sexism, but that's more, repulsive than whatever she thought was going on.
I went to see the Sean Connery remake of Thunderball, Never Say Never Again. I went to see it like 2 days in a row. And there's a scene where Barbara Carrera is changing into her bathing costume or whatever, and she pulls her shirt off, and for just a flash you can see the upper half of her nipple, and it was very exciting. Boy, she disappeared. I think she thought she was going to be a big deal. Oh, speaking of which, do you remember Wayne's World? Tia Carrere was in it.
I never saw it.
Oh, it was cute for its time, but I hate and did then Mike Myers. But she took her stage name from Barbara Carrera, apparently, and like her, she's disappeared. But a friend of mine at work was saying, in that movie, she does a version of Ballroom Blitz by Sweet, and it's really embarrassing and insulting to the original. It's just such crap. I think that's one of the reasons I could never be a performer, because you've got to put on a show for people, and I'm just not gonna do that. Not gonna pretend. I can tell stories, make them very interesting, do voices and stuff, but look at this guy hanging out the window of the car.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That guy went around the corner. So what'd you say the last movie you saw was?
I don't know what the last movie I saw was.
I think mine was 3.5 years ago, because I went to, look at that guy. I think we went to see that Star Wars movie right after I got out of the hospital in 2017.
What was the subject of it? What?
It was that first reboot with Kylo Ren and all that shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Daisy Ridley was Rey? We saw that movie?
Yeah.
Was it the first one?
Yeah, we went to see the first one, and I was like, oh my god, this is great. It's exactly what everybody wanted. And then the second one came out, and they just pissed all over it.
I don't even remember the second one.
The second one was where
They had a fight in the snow, or was that the first one?
that was the second one, where Luke Skywalker dies after revealing that he's actually a murderer or would-be murderer, and oh god, yeah, because they made up this whole shit about Ben went to see him to be trained, and Luke's Kylo Ren, Han Solo's son,
went to see
Luke Skywalker to be trained as a Jedi, but over the course of the training, Luke sensed that he was actually evil, so one night he decided to murder him in his sleep.
What?
Yeah, that's in the movie.
I don't remember anything about this.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous. I think that's where a lot of people just decided to wash their hands of it. And now they're going to do another fucking Indiana Jones movie. Do you realize he's 68 and no, maybe he's even older than that. 78. I can't remember. But why? And how are they going to explain that Shia LaBeouf is not in it? Or that, what's her name, that played Marion's not in it? How are they going to explain that?
Don't know, don't care.
I probably won't go see it. I'm not going to be fooled again.
Why would you even think about going to see it?
Loyalty.
I didn't go see the Crystal Skull. You and Jane took the kids.
Did she go with us?
Dollar Theater, yeah.
It was horrible. And I mean that sincerely. It was just absolutely terrible.
Okay. Was it as bad as the Crystal Skull episode of Stargate Atlantis? With Daniel and his grandfather.
I don't remember that one. Was that a bad episode?
It was not a good one.
That was a good show. Oh, speaking of which,
Stargate SG-1 rather.
well, I had been thinking about rewatching some of these shows that we liked, like Farscape and Stargate and Firefly and all that stuff. But then I realized I also would like to give The Mighty Boosh another try. because everybody talked about how great it was and how surreal, and I gave it a shot, and I just thought it was too silly, too forced. But I wouldn't mind giving it another shot. There's a lot of stuff I just don't have time. I don't have time to indulge in all that shit. I mean, there's a lot of things on YouTube that look promising, but they're basically visual. Because I saw a thumbnail for one just now before we left saying forgotten illustrators or something, and I'm like, well, I'd like to watch it, but it involves watching it, and I don't have time for that. If it's something I can listen to while I'm painting or drawing or whatever, I'll do it. But I gotta get my head straight about my painting, because every time I see something that takes my fancy, like lately I've been looking at Margaret Leighton's work, like, oh yeah, I want to do that. Oh, how we're going to incorporate that into the already existing thing you do. And you get, the rain clouds in the distance?
Yeah, you can see the rain coming down out of it. It's this dark swath of gray reaching down from the clouds to the sky, and all around it to either side is this nice light, bright blue, but then there's this gray section raining on everybody.
And like I said to you earlier this weekend, we've got an overabundance of rain here, and California is going through severe drought.
It isn't just California, it's all of the western states.
The point is, if they want to invest in infrastructure and give people jobs, why don't they construct a huge network of pipelines or aqueducts or something to carry the excess water here out there? Oh, that's not feasible. However, we can land a man on Mars.
Oh, and we can have pipelines that carry gasoline and such all over the country. Why not fucking water?
It's ridiculous. And meanwhile, the polar caps are melting. Greenland is melting. That's fresh water. Can it be captured and sent to where it's needed? Mark of the beast. One world government. Yeah, it's so there's going to be trees down everywhere up at the road, so you need to watch out.
Well, just capturing it isn't going to solve the problem that it's actually melting.
Well, there's got to be a way to do it.
But no, the real issue is we're heating up the planet. We're changing our climate drastically.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be a little bit of a stick in the mud and say, even if all the nations of the world decide, okay, we're all in agreement, we've muzzled our Christian nuts, and we're going to work together to stop climate change today, it would take 10, 15, 20 years to even begin to turn things around. So you're going to have the initial problems that we've created solved in the meantime. For number one, stopping people from having 15 goddamn babies, or like that guy in India having 89.
The quiverful community here in the U.S. having as many babies as the Lord sent.
Hey, that Christian nutcase camp that I went to, there's a Christian conference center / indoctrination camp up in North Carolina called The Wilds, and I went there a couple of times. We got a sermon one night during the midst of which the guy who was talking to us said, there are Christian married couples out there too selfish to have children. Because they think, there are baby souls in heaven that are waiting to be born, and if you have righteous intercourse as much as possible, you can have more warriors for the Lord. Just ridiculous. Yeah, we could spend the whole episode on that, talking about that, all the different experiences. That's what we'll do next time. We'll do a whole series of memories about our various indoctrinations in the faith when we were younger. Well, we're wrapping things. What?
Right there.
Oh, the rain coming
rain.
down? Yeah, I see it.
Huge swath.
All right, we're going to wrap it up there. And anything to add?
Nope.
No. All right, see you later. Bye.